The latest. Thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. In a move that has shaken Paris and the global energy market, Niger has officially cut its 58-year-old link with France. On May 18, 2026, the military government, led by our all-in-all General Abdurrahmani Chiani, signed an order to take back full control of the elite uranium mine. This is a huge deal. It marks the end of an era that shows that Niger is now taking full control of its own resources. To understand why this is happening, we have to look back at the history. After Niger became independent from France in 1960, France wanted to make sure it had enough fuel for its nuclear power plants. France used a lot of nuclear power to keep its lights on and its factories running. They did not have enough uranium at home, so they looked to the desert in Niger. In 1968, they made a deal. Niger gave a French company the right to mine uranium at Erupts. For 58 years, that mine was the most important source of fuel for France. The French built roads and towns in the desert just to keep that uranium out and ship it back to France. For France, it was a perfect setup. They got the fuel they needed at a steady price. But for the people of Niger, it felt very different. While the uranium helped power homes in France, many people in Niger felt they were not getting a fair share of the wealth. It felt like a colonial relationship that never really ended. The path to this moment has been building up for a long time. After the military took power in July 2023, the relationship between Niger and France fell apart very quickly. The new leaders in Niger began looking closely at what French companies were doing in their country. Last year, in June 2025, they started the process of taking over the mine operations. The government in Niger says the French company stopped paying the fees they own for using the land. The government sent them a bill in April 2025. When the company did not pay, the government warned them again in September 2025. They gave the company plenty of chances to fix the problem, but nothing changed. So this week, the military government decided to cancel the agreement entirely. What does this mean for France? It is a big problem. For years, a large part of the uranium France used came from Niger. This is where the fight has become very serious. France has not just sat back. They have taken the fight to the international court. France says that Niger is breaking the law and that the nationalization of the mine is a form of theft. They are trying to use international legal pressure to force Niger to hand the mine back or pay massive damages. France has even tried to block Niger from selling their current stockpile of uranium on the world market. But Niger is pushing back hard. They argue that the mine is on their soil and that they have the sovereign right to choose who works their land. They claim that the old contracts were unfair and that they are only correcting a historic wrong.
The President of the Republic, Head of State, General Abdurrahmani Chiani, is closely monitoring the development of the Dassa uranium project in Niger, a uranium mine project with the highest grade. Hence, this meeting granted to the Chief Executive Officer of Global Atomic Corporation, a Canadian company responsible for executing the project through its local subsidiary, SOMIDA, Société Minière de Dassa. A project that is making notable progress, according to the CEO of Global Atomic Corporation, in the presence of the Minister of Mines, the Chief of Staff of the President of the Republic, the government spokesperson, and the President's advisor on mines and energy. The CEO of Global Atomic Corporation provided extensive explanations on these advancements.
We are returning from the Dassa site. Dassa is progressing well with the main development, the civil engineering works, the assembly of the plant, which is starting. Dassa represents a high economic potential for Niger. We have spent approximately $250 million up to today, but there is still about 300 million left to do. We have more than 700 jobs over there at DASA on the site. More than 95% are Nigerians. They do very good work, and we are very proud of all the Nigerians working there. DASA has the support of the local and regional population to whom we offer health services, water, and business in the local area. The President assured us of the support of the state of Niger to bring the project to the production phase very quickly and thus generate benefits for Niger and for the investors.
A project expected by the end of 2027 for the testing and operational commissioning phase. Good news for Niger in its current strategy to regain control and revitalize its national mining resources.
What does this mean for France? It is a big problem. For years, a large part of the uranium France used came from Niger. France has spent the last year trying to find other countries to buy from, like Canada, Australia, or countries in Central Asia. But finding new suppliers is hard, takes a long time, and costs more money. This could lead to higher electricity bills for people in France at a time when energy prices are already a hot topic. Beyond the energy issue, this is a major loss for France's power in the region. Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso have all been moving away from French influence. This move is a final step in cutting those economic ties. Niger is saying it will no longer be a cheap source of fuel for its former colonial ruler. Instead, they plan to sell their uranium on the open market and work with new partners like China. Niger has already signed $1 billion in energy deals with Chinese firms. This shows they are not just stopping their relationship with France, but actively replacing them. However, Niger faces a very difficult challenge. They have the uranium, but they are a landlocked country. This means they have no coast, and they must rely on their neighbors to transport their goods to the sea to be sold globally. If those neighbors side with France or Western powers, they could close the borders, making it almost impossible for Niger to sell their resources. The Arlit mine was a symbol of the relationship between France and Niger for nearly 60 years. Now it becomes a symbol of how that relationship has broken down. For the people of Niger, this is a way to take back their own wealth, even if it brings economic hardship in the short term. For France, it is a sign that they can no longer rely on easy access to resources in Africa. The world is watching this legal and economic battle closely as it continues to change. Africa is taking its sovereignty into its own hands. Whatever the situation might be, our leaders in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso are saying that in order for us to have the better life, the better Africa we are looking for, we need to go through pain. They said, no pain, no gain. And that is exactly what we are seeing. So we should be able to endure to see the Africa we are looking for. France has been taught a lesson, even though they are doing everything possible to fight, but our all in all made it very clear to them. This is our land, and we decide what happens here. Just like we don't have the right to decide what happens in France. It's the same thing that they don't have the right to do here. Energy for France, while the people in Niger are in darkness. This is the love they proclaim to the African. But the time has come for us all in Africa to unite, to reclaim our sovereignty. You and I have a responsibility to play in order to change the narrative in our continent. There is no one that will come and do it for us if we ourselves are not ready to fight for the total liberation of our continent. We are the only ones that can set ourselves free. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we'll make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world in Africa, West Africa, and in Niger.